Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, O Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hey Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. गौर प्रेमानंदी प्रभुपाद की।
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna devotees, we are very fortunate to have His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. Chaitanya Prabhu's introduction. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is a monk, a spiritual scientist, practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 25 years. He has authored 300 analytical articles and 1600 inspirational daily meditations on the Bhagavad Gita. He is the author of 25 books, topics ranging from science and spirituality, social culture, socio-cultural analysis of religion, and the ancient texts of India, especially the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita. He is the member of ISKCON's leading intellectual body, the Sastric Advisory Council, which authors scriptural advice to the GBC. He is an associate editor of book to Back to Godhead, ISKCON's Globe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
One child, how So let's start first with, when you hear the word trust, what does it mean to you? Sorry? Expecting standard action. So right now, all of you are sitting quite close to each other. Every one of you is confident that the person sitting next to you is not going to suddenly turn at you and slap you in the face. Oh, is that possible? Well, anything is possible. But if somebody has come for a spiritual program like this, we expect a certain level of conduct from them, isn't it? So that's an expectation of certain standard action. Okay, you may not have had that example in mind, but yes, please. Yes. So we rely on each other when we can trust someone. Basically, see, in every relationship, there's two people are there. So I trust you to interrupt me. Okay. So, in general, in every relationship, sometimes the other person leans on us and sometimes we lean on the other person. That's how there is reciprocation. We do something for the other person does something for us. So, trust means that I can count on you. And in one sense, actually, if we consider love and trust, which is greater? Okay. Trust. Okay. My hesitation gave it away, is it? Okay. Now, it's very difficult to compare emotions. But in particular context, you can say as parents, we love our children. But that doesn't mean we trust our children, isn't it? Yeah, it's we may not give the key of our treasury to a child, not because they're untrustworthy in the sense of they're immoral, but they may just not be responsible enough. So in one sense, we may love many people, in the sense that we care for them. But trusting them, counting on them, that is not easy. So sometimes you say, I can always count on you to disappoint me. So it can be like that. So basically, we could say that love is a bigger circle in one sense. We can love many people, but there are not many people whom we trust. So we can rely on each other. Anything else the word trust means? Strong faith. Yes. So in one sense, faith is about, okay, in the present or in the past, this person has acted in this particular way. This is how this person will act in the future. So that's faith to some extent. Yes, thank you. Okay. Are you strictly differentiating between belief and faith? Or? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So, yes, please. That requires a lot of trust, isn't it? Surrender is a very big word. So surrender is that we basically entrust ourselves to that person. Like once I had fallen very sick. So we had a devotee doctor in Mumbai. I had got very advanced TB. So the doctor told me, you have to follow Bhagavad Gita now. What do you mean? He says, surrender unto me. You have to follow my instructions. Whatever I tell you to eat, you have to eat. Whatever time I tell you to sleep, you have to sleep. So surrender is, we entrust ourselves to that person. We hand ourselves over completely to that person. That's not easy to do with respect. Yes, please. To believe? Telling the truth. Okay. Trust means that we believe people. Their belief could be in terms of actions. Believe their words. It's said about politicians, before the election they shake our hands. After that they shake our trust. So not all politicians, and there's no need to single out politicians, because say the level of power that they get, the level of pressure that they come under. Now, who can say that if we were subject to that level of power and pleasure, we might not succumb also? But it is true that when we believe someone's words. So now, thank you for this. So we can see that trust is very important in relationships. So now sometimes trust may be lost because of our actions. And sometimes trust may be lost in spite of our actions. That means we have not done anything wrong, still we may be accused or we may be condemned, criticized. Are there any examples that you can think of in the Ramayana where someone was falsely accused? Sorry? Okay, one person. Sugriv. Yeah, Sugriv was falsely accused. Sugriv was the younger brother of the Vanara king, and Vali thought that he had conspired to usurp him, to kill him. So, falsely accused. Sugriv is an example. Anyone else? Yes. Vibhishan, who accused him? Yes, Vibhishan was accused as being a betrayer of the family, betrayer of his own brother, Bhratradrohi. That actually, we will discuss about it, Vibhishan, later if we get time today. But it's a very interesting case about what exactly happens over there. So now, any other example? So see, yes, Sita is that's a very painful example. Lakshmana, when was Lakshmana? Yeah, so when Sita couldn't figure out why is Lakshman not going there at that time, going to help Ram, or whenever she thought it was Ram in need, so she accused him of having an evil eye on her. So that was a very painful accusation. Anyone else? Yes, Bharat Maharaj. What was he accused of? Yes, he was behind the conspiracy to have Ram sent away to the forest. Thank you. So there are many examples. Let's look at the example of Bharat today. So now, when he came back to the kingdom, so when he left the kingdom, he had gone to his mother's father's place basically, and he was there, and the kingdom was flourishing. And when he suddenly called back on emergency basis, he came back, and the messengers had not told him what was wrong. He came back. Normally, his father would be there to greet him. His father was not there at all. And then he thought, my father is the mother. He knew that Kaikeyi was his father's favorite queen. So he went to the palace. As he was entering into the kingdom and passing by, no one was ready to meet his eye. Now, sometimes people will not meet the eye because they are afraid. But in this case, he just felt something very queasy inside him. What has happened? And then he saw his mother. And then he asked, where is my father? What has happened over here? What is the emergency? Then she started speaking. Once he started speaking, he got shock after shock after shock after shock. Like the first shock that he got was what had happened. His father was dead. Just the events were shocking. His father was dead and his brother was exiled. Now, exile is actually a very severe punishment. It is just one less than execution. In today's world, there are practically no forests to exile anyone to. The nearest we might think of exile is deportation. Somebody is deported from a country, but then at least they can go back to their original country. But in this case, the events themselves were shocking. But then there can be shock, and then there was shock squared. Why? That is not just happened that Kaikeyi had done it. That his mother had done all this, that was even more shocking. He's like, the cause, what has happened is bad enough, but why it has happened, that is worse. And as if that was not bad enough, and his mother had done all this, there was shock cube. What was this? His shock cube was, she expected him to be happy. She did it for him. So it's like, say, we all want our children to do well in exams. And say our child who does average in the exams comes and says, I come first in class today. Oh, wonderful. How did you do it? I found a way to hack into my teacher's computer and I got the whole question paper and I had all the answers ready and I came first to the class. Now, if a child is telling that gleefully, then we'll not only think, what kind of person are you? But what kind of person do you think I am? That I'll be happy by hearing this. So, it was just unbearable shock for him. So, the expectation, what people expect from us, that itself can be shocking. And as if that was not bad enough, there was shock raised to the power of 4. What was that? That he was thought to be behind it. That it's one thing is the expectation behind that is the aspersion. Aspersion means the implication, what is indirectly thought of. So he had absolutely nothing to do with it, and still he was accused of it. If you consider from this context, we all have been accused at different times. Life is such that we all will sometimes be misunderstood. Sometimes we ourselves do something wrong. Sometimes we are associated with someone who has done something wrong. Sometimes we are neither done something wrong, we are neither associated with somebody who has done something wrong. We just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. and then we get the blame for something. So life is such that we all will be accused. We all will be misunderstood. Sometimes we are put in a place where we are distrusted for no fault of ours. Now, of course, it is very easy to assume there is no fault of mine. But even if there is a situation like that, sometimes there is a fault of ours also. But what do we do at that time? So, at such times, we can look at what Bharat did. And based on that, we can ourselves learn how to move forward. So I'll talk about Bharat's actions in terms of an acronym CARE. So CARE, that is basically in general when we want to earn trust, there are only two ways, broadly two ways: our words and our actions. That what we speak and what we do. Now among these two, which is more important? What we do. The actions are more important? Well, probably it is. Certainly we say that you put your money where your mouth is, show through your actions. So actions are important, but it is not just actions. Because, somebody may be doing some actions externally, but why are they doing it? That people may ascribe their own motivations for it. So sometimes we may do some good for someone. Sometimes we may help someone and say, but why are you helping me? Did someone put you up to this? Are you expecting something from this? So actions do show we all want to understand what is in somebody's heart. And that is very difficult to understand. In one sense, it is difficult to understand what is even in our own hearts. Isn't it? They say, no, I am sincere. Okay, yeah, there is sincere element inside us. But there are multiple voices inside us. And sometimes some not so unhealthy voices also come. So basically, but broadly, our words and our actions, these are two tools. And both need to be used appropriately. So, when one of my friends is an attorney, basically he defends people who are accused, or so he said that at that time, when we are dealing with clients, at that time, we also have to evaluate. He is more of an attorney for the state. So he says that we have to evaluate who is criminal, who is not criminal. And there's always evidence, but no evidence. Generally, nobody does a crime where the evidence will be completely clear. The evidence is often circumstantial, and there always has to be an inference that has to be drawn from it. So when we talk with the person, some people are very capable of deceiving with their words. So, but the person's words give us some glimpse into their heart, and their actions give us some glimpse into their hearts. So both are important, words and actions. Through both of these, we can earn trust. Now, the problem is, if we consider this way, if there are only words or there are only actions, the only words, they can be insubstantial. If somebody has done something wrong and they apologize, an apology is cheaper than the paper than which it is written also. Sometimes words are cheap. Some people can just apologize. Only words may not be enough at all. But only actions, they may still be incomprehensible. In the sense that, why are you doing this? When Srila Prabhupada came to America, he was completely devoted to Krishna. In 1966, when in 65-66 he came, he would be speaking about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, cooking and offering food to Krishna. And he would have just been doing his own thing, and most people would have said, this is a strange old man doing some strange old things. It was only when he spoke, people understood why he is here, what he is doing. So sometimes we say, walk your talk. And that's definitely important, that we need to, what we are speaking, we need to be acting. But actually speaking, in spiritual life, especially bhakti spirituality, talking is also a part of the walking. Talking, so when we say walk your talk, have you heard this saying before? So walk your talk. The idea over here is that walking is one thing and talking is another thing. And these two are separate things. Well, that is true at one level if the walking and talking were completely separate. But if we consider bhakti, bhakti means, if you say this is the walking part. Walking means basically the living part. And one part of living is also talking. Shravanam Kirtanam. Kirtanam is a limb of bhakti. So by speaking about Krishna, we also show our love for Krishna. But somebody can speak and do nothing else. That's not so good. But speaking is important. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks, what are the characteristics of a self-realized person? Ita pragyasya ka bhasha. So, there also he asks, what is the bhasha? What is the language? What are the symptoms? Even if you take bhasha to mean symptoms, but still the next line is, kim prabhashita? How do they speak? The speech is considered important. When Srila Prabhupada met George Harrison said that, Swamiji, I met so many gurus. Now, how do I know who is for real? So, Prabhupada said that, he said, how do I know who really loves Krishna? He was already attracted to the Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna mantra. So, how do I know who really loves Krishna? Prabhupada said that, look at who is talking about Krishna. If somebody says, I love Krishna, and they never ever talk about Krishna at all, they're talking about everything else in the world, then that's not really much love for Krishna. So, we could say that if, say, this is the walking, okay, this is the walking, and the talking is completely different, opposite, then it's an issue. But a person's speech is a very important part of who they are. So in bhakti, talking is also a part of the walking. So the point I'm making is speech is important. It's not all important, but it is significantly important. So what is the acronym we are going to discuss? CARE. Thank you. So CA, this will be about the talking. It's about our words, and RE will be about our actions. So when Bharat heard about this, he heard what his mother had said, what she had done and what she was expecting. He said, you cannot be my mother. He says, my mother would never do something like this. He says, this is not the best pastime talk on Mother's Day. But the point is that he almost disowned her at that time. Not because he hated her, but because he just felt what you've done is terrible. Now it's important to see things from Kaikeyi's perspective also. See, Kaikeyi, somehow her maternal love at that point blinded her. And she believed that she was doing all this for Bharat's sake. And she had created in her mind an imaginary Bharat who approved what he was doing. So everybody is misunderstanding. But I'm not doing this for myself. I don't want the kingdom for myself. I want it for my son. It's his interest that I am protecting. So she was doing this out of her love for Bharat. Her love was misled at that time, but it was love for Bharat. And then if we consider Kaikeyi, she had an imaginary Bharat in her mind. A Bharat who approved all that he had done. And then there was a real Bharat. And then there was a collision of the two of them. So when this collision happened, when the real Bharat spoke, he says, what have you done? You have caused the death of your husband. You have caused the disruption of our family. You have caused devastation for all of Ayodhya. You have sent my blameless brother to the forest. He says, are you some demoness who was incarnated into our family to destroy our family? So she was shocked at his words. And slowly, as that imaginary Bharat dissipated from her mind, then the gravity of what she had done registered in her. And then to her credit, she repented. She regretted what she had done. And that's why Kaikeyi is not considered to be, what she did was bad at one level, but it's not considered to, she's not considered an evil person. It was in a moment of weakness, she was misled. But the point is still there was a crisis for Bharat. So we had to deal with the crisis. So when we are accused of something wrong, something bad, the C is condemnation. That, this is something which is terrible. This is something which I absolutely do not support. So now why do we need to condemn certain things? Nowadays there is this idea that no, we should not be judgmental. Well, that is true. We don't want to be judgmental, but we all have to make judgments in life. In the sense that there are certain courses of action which are healthy, some which are not healthy. So when something bad has happened, we need to verbally create a distance from it, to disassociate ourselves from it. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that speech is also a power, and that speech needs to be disciplined. He talks about austerity or discipline of speech. So Bharat unequivocally condemned. Not only did he condemn what Kaikeyi had done, but afterwards, when the courtiers came, when the Vashishta Muni and other sages came, he told everyone over there that, I have absolutely nothing to do with this. Not only I have nothing to do with this, I completely condemn it. Not only do I condemn it, my aspiration is to get Ram back as soon as possible. So that brings us to the second part, that's aspiration. So generally, through this, people get an understanding of our value system. Our values are ultimately seen through our actions, but still our words. See, something terrible has happened. Somebody says, yeah, that was not good. Not good. That's terrible. Sometimes what happens is, something terrible has happened and we are disturbed. And we tell it to someone, and if that person is not disturbed, then we are even more disturbed because they are not disturbed. So, our emotions as expressed through our words, they convey our value system, where we are invested, what do we consider important in our lives. So he immediately said that my aspiration is to get Ram back. But still, he had royal responsibilities. It's a crisis situation, and they had preserved his father's body because no son was there at that time. So no child was there at all at that time, for that matter. So then he had to perform the final rites of his father. Now, after he performed this, he knew Ram very well. The brothers were very close to each other. And when the more we are close to each other, what it means is that we understand how the other person thinks. We can't predict anyone completely. To a large extent, we understand how the other person thinks. Okay, in this situation, this person is going to think like this person is going to do like this. So he knew that he, as a younger brother, if he went, his appeal alone would not have much weight. Therefore, he announced in a public assembly that I plan to go to get Ram. And if any of you wish to come with me, you are most welcome. And many of the citizens from Ayodhya had gone earlier with Ram to be in exile. But Ram didn't want to disrupt the kingdom. So at night when everyone else was sleeping, Ram had got and he had gone across the river so that they couldn't trace him. So many of them said, we want to come. So then Bharat said, yes, if all of you are coming, then we also have an army to protect all of you. And because so many people were going to go, he said, we will even construct a road so that everybody can go. Now all this was delaying things at one level. But it was also reinforcing what he wanted to do. Because it was not, he knew that what he needed to do was not going to be that easy. So sometimes some people make a request simply as a ritual. Actually, no, come on, please come here, please do this. And they might just use the words, but that request it's more of a formality. It has no weight on it, underlying it. But he wanted this request to have weight. So that's where R is rectification. So if we are accused of something, if somebody is misunderstanding us, say, I got nothing to do with this is how I want things to be. But along with that, this is what I am going to do to fix things. What is bad? What is bad, what has gone wrong, we'll fix it. All of us may have different degrees of power to fix things. But whatever it is that we can do, if we show it through our actions. Now Bharat, for him, rectification meant that the request he was going to make, it had to have sufficient weight. That's why Vashishta Muni also came with him. And of course, Kaikeyi and Kaushalya and Sumitra, they said, we want to come. We want to come with you. And Kaikeyi said, I also want to come. Now Bharat absolutely didn't want Kaikeyi to come. He says, you are the reason why Ram went away. He said, yes, I'm ashamed of what I did. But because I was the reason, now if I come and appeal, he is likely to listen. More likely to listen. So then Bharat consented to that. So in general, what happens when something bad has happened? Quite often the person who has been hurt by it, that person is wrought by emotion. And that's why at that time, they may speak things which they may or may not mean. So that's why at that times, as we say, hurt people hurt people. So people who are hurt others. The first hurt is an adjective, second hurt is a verb. So it's like sometimes a baby is in pain and the baby is crying loudly. If the mother goes and touches the baby, also the baby starts kicking and doing various things. Now, the baby doesn't want to hurt the mother, but the baby is hurt and the baby doesn't know what's happening. So at that time, it's important for the mother to be understanding. So generally when people are very emotional, when people are hurting, Bharat did not get into, he did not take offense. How dare you accuse me of this? Don't you even know who I am? How do you think I would ever be associated with something like this? Now, there is the possibility when we are accused of something that we become indignant, that we become outraged. How could you even think of like this about? But that is not the key thing over there. We understand that the other person is hurting. And when people are hurting, they often speak things. Something has happened and at that time, they just want somehow to make sense of it. It's fine. Someone to be responsible for it. And we just might happen to be there at that time. So generally, this is what happened with one of the examples that you mentioned, when Sita spoke to Lakshman. So here the point is that if focus on, I'm talking about actions, in terms of actions, rectification. So when we are accused, many times our focus goes on, how dare you think like this about it? if you think like this about me, I'll have to rethink our whole relationship only. You think like this about me, if you're going to accuse me of this, I don't want to have anything to do with you. That's not the most important thing. The important thing is that person, that point is hurting. And that's why they're speaking. If that's the script they keep repeating constantly, then that's a different issue. So, when we are accused, our focus, it is important what it should be. Not how can people think about this? How can people think like this about me? Now, sometimes, we may have the power to, if we are powerful enough, to crush the other person. I have no intention like this. This should not be the focus. The focus should be, what can I do to fix things? So when Bharat went to the forest, at that time, at various places, first he had to convince the courtiers, then he had to convince the citizens that he had nothing to do, nothing wrong to do. Then, when he came to the forest, he came to a tribal king. Who was that king? Guha, yes. Priya Guhu Nivedita Padarama, as described. So now Guha came with his generals. Guha was actually no match for Ram, the Ayodhya army. But he asked, well, where are you? Can you tell me where Ram is? Guha, he asked, you come with a whole army, I pray that you do not have any ill intention towards him. Oh, he could have got angry with him and said, no, who do you think you are interfering with the family affairs? You just tell me where he is, I'll kill you. See, there is no need to take things personally. Especially in relationships. The opposite of taking things personally is not taking things impersonally. It is taking things objectively. Taking things personally means, oh, everything is about me. How can you accuse me? Well, the issue is not about us. Although it is, we are involved in it. So, here it is, we take things personally. And now it's very difficult in one sense to not take things personally. Because what happens? It's about us. People are accusing us. But the point is, we need to take things objectively. Okay, what is the issue? And in this situation, this kind of perception is understandable. So when, say for example, when Sita accused Lakshman of having a evil eye on her, it was horrible. Lakshman had never thought like this, and Sita had also probably never thought about it like that. But at that time, she was going through emotional turmoil. Like first, she had sent Ram to go after to get the deer. Sita Priya Harina Nugaram. Now it's like, say, we know there's going to be some storm, and yet we tell someone, can you just go and buy this? The store is nearby only. And they expect to come back in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, it's 1 hour, it's 2 hours. And when the storm has already hit that area, now we start feeling guilty. Did I do something wrong? So there was a little bit of guilt over there. I sent Ram away. And because of me, Ram is in trouble, or might be in trouble. And then on top of that, when she actually heard that voice, it sounded exactly like Ram's voice. And when Lakshman said, no, this is not Ram's voice. This is the demon's voice. He says, but just go. So she just couldn't make sense of why he would not go. So now when she spoke those words, she was in an emotional frenzy. And Lakshman had to go. But when Lakshman came back with Ram, and they found Sita was not there, what did Lakshman say? She accused me of that, serves her right. Oh, he didn't do that. Later on, when finally after the war they met, Lakshman didn't say, okay, when are you going to apologize now? Isn't it? So the point is that don't see intention. Intention in words spoken in tension. So, in tension, when people are emotionally wrought, at that time what they speak, don't take it too seriously. Don't see intention in that. So, the focus should not be, how can you accuse me of this? Focus is, how can I fix the situation? So, Bharat had to do this repeatedly. And then, when he came to Bharadwaj ashram, he knew Ram had gone that way. Bharadwaj mukhananda karam. And Bharadwaj also said the same thing to him. I pray, O Prince, that you do not have any ill will towards your brother. That time, Bharat just broke down. He says, O sage, if you also think like that about me, then I am doomed forever. What hope do I have? I had absolutely nothing to do with this. All these people and all this army I have brought with me, it is only to persuade Ram to come back. And the earnestness of his words just brought a big smile on Bharadwaj's face. He says, Oh Prince, I already knew your heart. I was just testing you. I wanted to see. I knew your intention, but I wanted to see the sincerity, the fervency of your intention. And then he told him that Ram is in Chitrakutadri Niketana Rama. In Chitrakuta. Now there also when he went, when they saw the army, Lakshmana was suspicious. But Ram diffused the suspicion over there. So the point is rectification. We focus not on how, the rectification is not just, how can you think about me like this? So you rectify the situation and then the trust will be restored. And then the last part, what is the acronym? E. So E is elevation. Elevation means that sometimes the situation itself can't be rectified. Because what has happened, what has been done can't be undone. So Bharat begged fervently to Ram, please come back to the kingdom. And Ram said, no, father, I have given my word to my father. I was not there in his last moments to perform the last rites for him. This is the very least I can do for him. I can carry out his last intention, the last promise that I made to him, his last wish, his last expectation from me. So then Bharat made the dialogue between Bharat and Ram is one of the most moving dialogues in the entire Mahabharata. Yeah. I was testing you. No, that is the way of justifying my mistake. No. So now, the dialogue between Sita and Ram, Sita and Hanuman also in Lanka is also very sweet. Many places, but this is especially sweet. So, Bharat tries various attacks. He says, first he says that, that was not his intention. It was what Kaikeyi wanted. Kaikeyi said, you come back. Still Ram was not ready to listen. Then Bharat said that I will stay in the forest. You can go back. That way, one son will be there to honor the words of our father. So Ram said that in this world, everyone has to bear their own karma. That if everybody starts taking up everyone else's karma, and the whole order of the universe will be thrown into disruption. So like that the discussion goes on for quite some time. But finally, he says that sometimes the past situation in it literally cannot be fixed. But we can do something which can elevate the overall morale. Elevate the consciousness of people. And that's why Bharat had come, it had taken several weeks and waiting. At that time, his constant meditation had been, what will I say to get Ram to come back? Sometimes if we have a high stakes conversation, then we can just get emotional about it, or we can replay various scenarios in our mind. If this person says this, then this is what I'll say. If this person says this is what I'll say. We can replay various scenarios. So Bharat had actually done all that in his mind. And like as a last ditch alternative, he said that, "Oh Ram, if you do not come to the kingdom, if you do not accept this kingdom, then I cannot accept it. I am not qualified for it. I will join you in the forest and I will stay in the forest with you." And he sat down. He sat down in resolute intention to stay there. Now everybody there was observing all this great exchange between these two great brothers. And finally, when Bharat sat down like that, Ram smiled. And he says, "Oh Bharat, you have won. Your love has won. Your love for me was never doubted by anyone, but now it shines forth for everyone to see. You have come to offer this kingdom to me. I accept that kingdom." And Bharat's face blossomed like a lotus when the sun comes out. And then Ram smiled, paused, smiled and spoke. "And because I also want to honor my father's words to me, I accept this kingdom and I return it to you for 14 years. On my behalf, you take care of the kingdom." Now Bharat realized now he had been checkmated. But still he had like a final ace up his sleeve. He said, if I am going to do this as a service to you, then let the world know it. He says, "I brought these padukas for you, these shoes, this footwear. You please sanctify this and then you give this to me. And then I will place these on the throne." So at that time, today if one brother gives his shoes to the other brother will probably take the shoes and beat the first brother with it. Especially if there is normally there is a succession struggle. This was also succession struggle. But succession struggle here was not that I want the inheritance. It was you take the inheritance. That was a struggle over here. So then Bharat finally took the padukas, took the shoes which Lord Ram had worn and put them on his head. And he carried them and then he put them in the court. So the padukas sat on the court in the throne and Bharat sat on a lower seat. So the position in the court reflected the disposition in his heart. And thus, what could have been a very bitter situation, that, one brother conspired against another brother and this happened and that happened, that actually became a very heartwarming situation for everyone. It brought the two brothers together, it brought the citizens together with the royal family. And in that way, although there is sometimes rectification in specifics may not be possible, but the elevation of the morale, that is possible. So that rectification, the position in the court, what did it do? It reflected the disposition in the heart. And each one of us, we can say, I tried, it didn't work. Okay, that didn't work, but can something else work? So when we try to act in ways by which we rectify the situation, or at least try to elevate the situation which has gone down, then we'll find that from whatever situation we might be in, the stain of that accusation, the loss of that trust, that will be countered. Now, of course, there is some people who may never change their opinions about us. And we can't really help that. Wanting to be liked by people who are not wanting to like us, or who want to dislike us, that is a recipe for misery. There are some people whom we will never be able to win over. That doesn't mean you have to kick those people away. But we just have to lower our expectation for those people. But many people are reasonable and they can be won over. It requires patience. But we see Bharat shows this example of how when we are falsely accused, when people seem to have lost trust in us, what can we do to earn that trust back? And in that way, we all from the Ramayana can learn this lesson of dealing with misunderstandings, regaining trust. So I'll summarize what we discussed and then we can have a few questions. We discussed 3 main points. First was we talked about the trust, how vital it is in relationships. It helps us to count on people. In one sense, it's deeper than love. And it is what enables us to function cohesively in relationships in society. So then we discussed about how before that the Ramayana is both a devotional book and a relational book. So we can learn devotional lessons about how to love the Lord. We can also learn relational lessons. So then when we discussed about the magnitude of Bharat's shock. It was not just shock, it was what? Shock to the power of 4. Not just what had happened, but who had done it, his mother had done it, and she thought, I'll be pleased by it, and everybody's thinking that I am a part of it. So at that time, how did he solve it? What is the acronym we discussed? Care. So basically, C and A, these are associated with words. So we discussed how words are also very important in conveying our heart to people. So C was what? Condemnation. So what is wrong, we have to strongly distance ourselves from it. And A is aspiration. Yes. So what do we want to do? Now we may or may not be able to do it immediately. For Bharat it took some time to do it. But through our words, we convey. Basically through this we convey our value system. And then after that, R was rectification. So what has happened, we try to fix that. And E is elevation. So rectification, it's of the situation wherever it is possible, but otherwise elevation is of the morale, that we try to do what we can. This is where the actions are seen. And overall, while doing all this, our focus needn't be on take things personally. How can you accuse me of this? How can you believe something about this? Something like this about me. Our focus can be more take things objectively. How can, okay, this thing has happened. Let me try to see how this thing can be fixed. So hurt people. Don't see intention in what is spoken. Intention. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes, please.
Thank you for the wonderful lecture. I was listening to one of your lectures online, and you talked about an exchange with a university student who made an insensitive remark about your disability. And I thought your response was beautiful and highlighted how to use humility to de-escalate. If you wouldn't mind sharing that anecdote.
Which one are you talking about? The polio one?
Yeah, he was talking about karma. And
okay. Any particular reason you're asking that? Or?
I just thought your response was beautiful.
Oh, okay. So, in India, once I was giving a talk in a somewhat leftist university. So, the talk was on karma. So, after that, one student asked this question. Says, according to karma, bad things happen because somebody is in bad karma. That's what you're teaching? I said, yes. So, he says, so you have polio. He says, that means you must have done some bad karma, because of which you have polio. So, if you have done bad karma, then what right do you have to teach us to do good karma? Isn't that hypocrisy? So I replied, yes, it's true that I must have done some bad karma. I don't know what it was. But The important point is that in spite of whatever bad karma we do, Krishna is always ready to accept us. Krishna's arms and his heart is always open to us. So in spite of my bad karma, Krishna has accepted me. No, you have not done any bad karma like me. So Krishna will accept you even more warmly, and you can share this message with even greater conviction and effectiveness afterwards. Yes, please. Thank you. Mike.
Coming back again on the karma point, we all know about Ramayana, and Ram was exiled for 14 years. And you said it is also part of karma, although it's part of Lord's Leela. But what karma Lord Ram has to suffer for being exiled for 14 years?
Okay. See, this is a big subject, but briefly, I'll say that the Ramayana can be understood at 4 different levels. I use the acronym LEAD to explain this. One is at the literal level. Literal level, it's just a good story. There's political intrigue, there is backstabbing, there is action, there is romance, there is all those things are there in it. So it's a good story. So at this level, people approach it only for entertainment. And they'll watch Ramayana, and then they will, once the Ramayana TV series is over, they'll turn and watch a Bollywood movie or Hollywood movie. For them, it's just interchangeable. But at least Lord Ram is coming into their consciousness. This is good. Then the next is the ethical level. Ethical level, this is where we get guidance for decision making. So today we largely approach it at the ethical level. Ethical level means in what situation, which character did what action. Was the action right? Was the action wrong? And then we try to learn from that. Then beyond that, there is the allegorical level. But the story itself is not an allegory. The story is something that has historically happened. But allegorical means that there is some symbolism behind it. So who is Ravan? He's a historical person. But what is Ravan? That is a mentality. So here we get some intellectual illumination about what various things represent. And then beyond that, D is the devotional level. At the devotional level, there is just ecstasy. Because here we see everything as the Leela of the Lord, as the reciprocation of love between the Lord and the devotee. So each of these perspectives can help different people at different levels. So generally, the Kanishta Adhikari, the introductory devotee, focuses on the literal level. The Madhyam Adhikari focuses on the ethical and the allegorical levels. The Uttam Adhikari focuses on the devotional level. Uttam Adhikari is the topmost devotee. So now, in general, the point that the Lord is the supreme the Lord is transcendental to everything material. The Lord is not under the principle of karma. That is true, and that is the focus at the devotional level. So at the devotional level, we see that the Lord just arranges such situations so that reciprocation of love can happen. And there's no cause other than the reciprocation of love. So from that perspective, we can say even that Kaikai was arranged by the Lord to do what she did. But that is not the only way to look at things. Because if we look only from a devotional perspective, then there is nothing for us to learn for our edification, for our guidance in life. So Lord Ram, he himself, in the Ramayana, most of the time, or at least in the retelling, in the original telling of the Valmiki Ramayana, he doesn't act like God. The purpose of the Valmiki Ramayana is to demonstrate the behavior of an ideal person. And if we say that ideal person is God, then God can do anything. So what is difficult for him? So that's why the divinity of Lord Ram is not prominently emphasized. It is clearly mentioned repeatedly, but is not prominently emphasized. And Lord Ram does not always, very rarely he acts as if he is God. So he is talking at an ethical level. That whole discussion with Bharat and Ram is at an ethical level. Rather, if Ram were God, he could just say, I am God, get out of here. Go back, just obey me. Even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita reveals his divinity to Arjuna. But Krishna does not just explain things only at that level of I am God, you have to obey me. Krishna does elaborate ethical reasoning to explain things. So Lord Ram is speaking at the ethical level over there. As an ideal human being, saying we all have our karma, I also must be having some karma. But from a devotional perspective, you understand that that is not the reality. Okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Yes, please. You have a mic there?
I don't know if we're allowed to ask, but can you be my guru?
Now, Krishna is the guru of all of us, and we all are helping each other in our spiritual journeys. I'm happy to be of service as one of the many people who can help. So here you are a part of the community. Stay connected with the community. You will find many wonderful devotees who can guide you forward. You can move forward in the spiritual journey. All the best. Hare Krishna. Thank you. There's a question here.
Solution. That's like because Bharat was perfect and Lord Ram was perfect, so it worked very smoothly. So sometimes we may not be perfect, like the person is rectifying still has a not 100%, but a little bit of, and the other person has a little bit of feeling that we betrayed. So what can we add to eliminate that?
Okay. Yeah, it's an important question. See that none of us is perfect, and we all, in retrospect, we can say that I could have handled the situation better, and that is understandable. So, see, there are two distinct things over here. One is knowing what is to be done, like it's like having a map, and then the second is driving along the road. So none of us is a perfect driver. But just because we are not a perfect driver doesn't mean that the map itself is of no value. The map gives us some understanding. Okay, this is the direction I'm meant to go in. So now, depending on our capacity, we will use the map accordingly. Krishna says in the Gita, Sarvarambhahi doshena dhumenak niribhavata. He says all endeavors are covered by faults. But in spite of that, sadosham apinatyachet. Krishna says, although there will be faults in everything that we do, we shouldn't give up the activity itself as faulty. Whatever role we play in our lives, who can say that we'll play it perfectly? We may be, as professionals, we learn and grow. As in a family, as parents, we learn. Everybody of us is learning, and that's all that we can do. As finite beings, that as a very intrinsic consequence of our finiteness, there is our fallibility. Fallibility means our tendency to commit mistakes. So we need to accept that. And over a period of time, people will see how we are acting. Once in a while we go off track, or everybody understands that no one is perfect over here. And to the extent there is an expectation of perfection, to that extent there is going to be frustration. So that's why what they say about romantic love, love is blind, but then marriage is an eye-opener. Isn't it? Now that does not mean that there cannot be any deep affection in the relationship, but there is a utopia initially. So what survives after the utopia is very important. So I think just because we are not perfect doesn't mean we can't try. we do what we can. We have the map and we try to go along the map as much as we can. Okay. So that section 18, 46 to 48 is very encouraging to read. Where I quoted the verse Sarvarambhai Doshena. Those 3 verses Krishna talks about how even if things are imperfect, don't give them up. Okay. Thank you. Any last question before we stop? Yes, Malati.
So after this long discussion also, for the next 14 years, Bharat was still guilty. Like he was at the Nandigram and he didn't there was a long lot of sayings like he didn't meet the people also. He goes to Sarayu, the early morning path, so that he doesn't want to. So it's like he was still falsely accused after this.
Oh, okay. No. So Bharat performed a lot of austerities. See, that is a different situation. Bharat felt that the condition in which my brother is living, I also want to live in that condition. So it was voluntary. See, there's a difference between, if you consider fasting and starving. Both involve lack of food. But there's a huge difference, isn't it? What is the difference? Yes, fasting is voluntary. And starving is forced. It's involuntary. Isn't it? Suppose somebody invites us to their home for a feast, for a food. And they say, I heard you want to lose weight, so you can fast today. That's not going to work. That's going to cause frustration. Because we go with a particular set of expectations. So, similarly, there is a difference between humility and humiliation. So, humility is a voluntary turning away from the ego. Whereas humiliation is forced disrespect. Forced disrespect. So, now to be accused, that would be humiliating. People are thinking like this about me. But on the other hand, performing austerity, that was his humility. He felt that it's our own family that is going through this tragic situation. If my brother is living in austerity, then how can I live in luxury? So I'll also live similarly. So that was not because he was accused. And was he feeling guilty? Well, I don't think it was so much guilt as it was a sense of empathy. It was a sense of sharing in the suffering. That I don't want to have anything more comfortable than what my brother has. Okay. So thank you very much. Shri Ramachandra Bhagwan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Prabhu, one quick thank you note and quick summary Keith Prabhu wants to give.
Sure.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Initially, I was supposed to give a summary, but I think you have already expertly gave a summary. I cannot top that one. So, there were a couple of points that I was kind of looking at as we were talking through things. And at first, I just thank you so much for the talk. And it's such a very eye-opening kind of understanding of how we deal with accusation and how to rebuild trust. But the first thing was thinking about how love and trust are interrelated, number one, but how love is such a wide, such a more encompassing sort of a mindset or frame as opposed to trust, because it's something that we have to, there's a lot that has to be done behind trusting someone and trusting on and relying on others. But also I was looking at some of the other things that you were mentioning around, because I know I have the propensity to do this. If I want to basically have trust given to me, I will probably put my head down and start doing actions, because that's kind of just the nature of things. But understanding that both we have to actually use our words in conjunction with our actions is very important. I think that was one of the really keystones or cornerstones of the discussion itself. But honestly, I just wanted to say thank you. It's such a great pleasure to hear you. We definitely would like to hear from you again. Of course, you will give a part 2, and I will definitely be here for that as well, and very eager for that. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So in part 2, I'll be discussing about how Sugriv and Ram, when they met for the first time, how Sugriv was able to trust Ram. And then we'll also discuss about how the Vanaras and Ram, they trusted Vibhishan. So basically, how to repose trust, on what basis. That's what we'll be discussing in tomorrow's session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, this week announcements. We're thrilled to announce that His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu will be continuing the part 2, whatever we discussed on deepening our relationship, how to earn trust and address misunderstanding based on the Ramayana, part 2, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in the temple. Please make sure to take advantage of these special programs. Ekadasi fasting is going to be on Saturday. If possible, please try to fast from grains and beans on that day. We had following 2 birthdays in the last week. One is myself, and one is and Veena Mataji. Let us chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times for our benefit. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyone attending this Sunday Fish program for the first time? Okay, we'll have quick prasadam praise.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can I pass mine? Yeah. You want to introduce that?
This is my mother, Michelle.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. So first timers get a gift. I'll see you while you are going. So we also have Gita Wisdom, a year of nourishment through.
So, okay, the other book is also there? One book on the, a small book there also.
Only calendar.
Was there only one box that came? Because there's a book on the Ramayana also which was there. No? Oh, okay, sure. Okay, anyway. So actually much of what I spoke today was from my latest book on the Ramayana. It is called Living the Ramayana. And it has about 9 articles which explain themes of the Ramayana. If any of you want, we have copies probably in Houston. We left them behind. We can get them for you. But this is, let's open one of them. These are 366 quotes inspired by the Bhagavad Gita. So much of what I spoke today. Like I said, don't see intention in what is spoken intention. That quotes like that are there in this. So, hold our plans lightly, hold our Lord tightly. We often end up doing the opposite. God can work on us even through the things that don't work for us. Focus on God's ability, not on our liability. Those who can't face books seek shelter in Facebook. So each of these is a quote inspired by one verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a very easy way to have some spiritual substance to contemplate on at the start of the day. There is one quote for each day of the calendar year. This is also a very accessible gift to give to friends, colleagues, relatives who may not be interested in anything that seems religious, or even spiritual, something which is wisdom. So all these, we have a few calendars available over here. If any of you would want, please feel free to have them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you can give some donation. Can take that. Also, we'll have a quick prasadam prayer. We'll have quick prasadam prayers by Dhriti.
Namo Brahmane Rajam Vishvashone Vijayate Sharira Vityajar Jyotindiya Tahekar Jive Fale Vishaya Sagare Paramatya Jivati Loba Mois Dharmati Take Jita Katina Samsare Krishna Paradaya Moy Tori Pare Jiva Joy Swaprasadana Dila Bhai Nam Ritabha Shri Radha Krishna Gunaga Premeda Kurshi Chaitanya Nitai Jaini Ma Jainita Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Vivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mahaprasadam ki
Thank you all for attending this program. See you all tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in the temple. Also, while you are going